Going out into the open to be one with nature can be pretty intimidating, especially when you've never done it before. But the good news is that even the most experienced of campers were once beginners, and if they can learn, so can you. In this video, we're taking you through some tips that will help you become a happy camper in no time. Step 1. Make a checklist. Camping is one of the most spontaneous outdoor activities ever. When you head out into the wild, you really don't know what kinds of adventures await, which is why it's super important to be prepared for the best and worst case scenarios. Most new campers often skip the planning part and head straight into the execution. But the truth is that the more organized you are, the smoother your experience will be. Imagine reaching your campground only to realize that you've forgotten something super important. So, to make sure that nothing puts a damper on your adventure, make sure to prepare a checklist before you even think of going out on your first camping trip. Whether it's your camping gear, clothes, or other essentials, write every single thing down and keep going back to your list as you pack. Your camping checklist will be your best friend till the very end, so make sure to update it and cross things out as you go, just so stay on top of your game. Next, you should plan your meals. Very similar to your checklist, another important thing to plan out is how much food you'll be eating. Now, of course, this depends on the number of people going camping and the number of days you'll be there. A lot of first-time campers just grab whatever they can find at the last minute and end up with snacks and instant meals that just aren't filling enough to keep you energized. Remember that when you're camping outdoors, you are going to need sustenance to keep going. So meal planning is an essential part of the process to keep your energy up, because only then can you make the most out of your trip. So brainstorm your meal ideas and go grocery shopping 1 or 2 days before so that the food stays fresh. Remember to keep your meals simple and nutritious. So things like one-pan dishes and burgers that require the least amount of ingredients will always be a good idea. Another really great idea is to measure out your spices and ingredients beforehand so you don't end up packing things you won't use. Depending on your campsite, do your research beforehand and look at the cooking options you will have at hand, and then start prepping for your meals. Buying the right tent. Most people usually put off buying a tent at the very last minute because it sounds like a fairly simple job, right? But you'll be surprised to know that the biggest mistake that first-time campers make is that they underestimate the importance of a good tent. When you're out in the open, your tent is essentially the only thing that separates you from all the forces of nature. So it's important to buy one that can fit everyone. While you might think that a 4-person tent is ideal for 4 people, once you factor in sleeping bags and blankets, you're going to need more space than you think. A smart idea is to always go for a tent that's a size bigger than what you were originally getting, so people don't end up having to sleep on top of each other. A good night's sleep is extremely important when you're out camping, so don't leave tent shopping for the very end, because that's a surefire way to land yourself in trouble. Don't forget to test your gear. All seasoned campers know that the most important thing to do before heading out to camp is to make sure that your gear works like it's supposed to. So, as soon as you're done making all your checklists, test out all of your gear to see if something needs to be fixed or replaced. Go ahead and practice setting up your tent at home in your yard to make sure you know what to do once you get to the campsite. This way, you'll know that you won't run into any trouble once you're away from home. Not just that, but also make sure that your sleeping bag is comfortable and warm enough. Pack extra blankets in case the weather is too cold, and double-check all your flashlights, headlamps, and lanterns. Make sure your batteries have juice and pack extra sets just in case. If you plan on cooking using an electric stove or a portable grill, test those out as well, and make sure that all your gear fits into your backpacks, just so you don't run into any last-minute emergencies. Stay close to home. Sure, camping means that you take a break from all things normal and go out to a place unknown. But if you're a first-time camper, it's probably a smart idea not to stray away super far. The reason why first-time campers are urged to find campsites close to home is the fact that they might just not be into the whole thing after a while. So imagine spending a night camping and waking up in the morning just wanting to go home. In that case, it's easy to pack up and head home if your campsite is right by home. Even if you don't want to quit on your camping experiences, sometimes things don't go as planned. You might run into unpredictable weather conditions that you won't be able to handle as a new camper. In all of these cases, staying close to home is a smart choice that will probably save you from a lot of trouble. Check campground guidelines. Not all campsites are built the same, so make sure to do your research before you head out and follow all campground guidelines and regulations that have been set in place. Most campgrounds campgrounds have certain limits for on-site parking and strict rules about pets, children, and noise during quiet hours. In most cases, staff members will easily provide you with all the rules that you're supposed to follow throughout your stay, so make sure that you observe all these rules, since without them, there's little to no semblance of privacy when you're in a campground. But that obviously doesn't mean that you should interact with the campers around you. As long as you respect their space, go ahead and make new friends on this brand new journey. And of course, always make sure to clean up after yourself and dispose of any trash in the right places to leave the camping ground clean for others that come after you. Next is clothing decisions. When you're camping out in the wild, the weather conditions are going to affect you more than they do when you're indoors. So even the smallest of temperature changes can result in an uncomfortable experience. A huge part of the planning is to check the kind of weather you'll be camping in and then pack your clothes according to where you're going, along with the kind of activities you're planning on participating in. For example, if there's a chance of rain, make sure to take your rain boots, coat, and umbrella. If you're going to be swimming, make sure to keep more than one swimsuit and extra trunks. It's always a great idea to keep light pieces that you can layer in case the weather turns cold and take off if you feel too hot. So keep tank tops, long and short sleeve shirts, along with extra socks and underwear, beanies or hats, and most importantly, pack the right kind of shoes to stay comfortable at all times. Picking the right weather. Seasoned campers can head out no matter what time of the year it is, but as far as new campers go, it's always a better idea to camp in months that aren't too cold or too hot. Most people think that summer is the perfect time to camp, and while it's true that the summer is great for water sports and swimming, the heat tends to get a little too uncomfortable, especially when you don't have any experience in the domain. So most experts agree that spring is essentially the best time for first-time campers to head out if they want to make the most of their camping experience. Spring is also a great time when there are fewer insects out in the open, if that's something you're specific about. The temperature usually remains cool, and fresh blooming flowers make for the perfect scenery to look at during your camping trip. At the same time, the fall is also ideal for long hiking trips, while the winter can also be a little too harsh for first-timers to handle. Don't forget to bring games and activities. When you're trying to be one with nature for the first time, there will be a couple of moments when you feel like you're running out of things to do. So make sure to pack enough games and recreational gear that will help you make the most out of your trip. At the same time, make sure you choose a campsite that offers recreational activities, such as bird watching, biking, rock climbing, and more. But don't just stop there, and pack your own equipment, such as cards, books, and board games to keep things fun. That's a wrap for this video. Which one of these tips are you missing out on? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. See you in the next one.